Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys all doing well here. What's going on in the market? So the market, we had in the last 2 days, we've had rallies in the market. On Friday, we got the bounce after the sell-off last week, late last week, and we got the bounce on Friday, and we also got another continuation on Monday. But today we saw that the market retreated a bit and waiting for the jobs numbers tomorrow. So we shall see how that works out. How that works out tomorrow. But I'll go into the charts here to show you guys what I'm watching so far. So some of the things that we have coming up tomorrow is we have the tomorrow is I believe is going to be tomorrow is going to be the we are going to get the employment numbers. I think it was delayed. It was delayed last week, so we are going to get the non-farm payroll numbers coming in because this was supposed to be reported last week. However, due to the government shutdown, they delayed it, so it's going to be it's going to be reported. So this was last week. Here was ADP employment. Which one is this? So the non-farm payroll is going to be reported tomorrow, and we also have the U.S. employment report, which is estimated to be the forecast is going to be 55,000, and the unemployment rate is going to be reported as well. Yeah. So tomorrow the market is expecting some employment numbers, and the delayed non-farm payroll numbers are also going to be reported because those were delayed due to the temporary government shutdown. So we shall see how that works. So I believe that the market sold off today because investors are just wanting to wait to see what happens in the non-farm payroll numbers, and then based on that, they can decide whether to jump into the market or continue selling off the market, right? So we shall see how that works out. So here I'm going to go into this chart here. So what we've been seeing is that we've been seeing a lot of insiders sell their stocks, right? Their stocks and their holdings. So this is typical of what happened in 2021. So I believe that we are at a point where we are at the market top and anything is possible. And then once we go into the charts, I'm going to show you guys where we are at in the chart and also how to target and position yourself, because right now the path to least resistance is to the downside. To the upside, in the general market, in the SPY and in the QQQ and even the DIA, we have limited upside because these are all extended to the upside. Okay, so this is what we are seeing here. Insiders are basically folks that own shares of a stock, like the CEOs, like the Elon Musk's of this world, the Jeff Bezos, and the guys who have big number of shares in companies. They have started selling, they're taking profit because they know what is coming and they see that there's less upside in this market. Okay. Also, when you check here, the job opening numbers that came in last week was really underwhelming because for the first time the job opening numbers were really low to like the Great Recession levels, right? That was in 2009. So right now we're seeing, like, if you look at this, we are seeing a 1 million drop in job openings, which is really bad. Okay. So from the look of things, I believe that the US economy is weakening and the US economy is going into a recession. Some analysts are calling it reacceleration of the economy. I don't think so. I think that the US economy is teetering towards a recession. And sometime this year, it's going to come out that the US economy is in a recession. So if the US economy goes into a recession, then we are going to get a significant decline in the stock market. So I believe that the insiders probably have this information and they have their analysts, they have a whole host of guys who are analyzing these things and trying to say that, hey, you know what? The market is the market is at the top. We need to sell now before it's too late, right? So that is something that you're going to be watching here in the non-farm payrolls. If that number comes in worse than expected, then what's going to happen is that it could cause more fear in the market, but it could also be a positive, because if non-farm payroll is worse than expected, the numbers are bad, that means that it's going to force the Fed to cut interest rate, which could be a positive for the market. So we shall see how that works out tomorrow. The data comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and we shall see how things work out. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to go into the charts, right? So in the charts here, I am seeing we have the SPY, that's the SPY, and this is the ETF that tracks the top 500 companies in America. Okay, so if we put in the, let's put in the RSI, okay, the RSI indicator. So once we put the RSI indicator, like over here, we saw, so this was a sell that happened in 2024, like February to March 2024. So we saw a bearish divergence here. Okay, we got a bearish divergence, and then over here as well, late 2024 to early 2025, we also saw bearish divergence. Bearish divergence basically means that the market is going up and the RSI is declining, is coming down. So that's called a bearish divergence, meaning that eventually the market is going to go down, but the RSI is divergent to it. So it's giving like warning sign. Over here as well, we see that the market is pushing up, but yet again, the RSI is going down. So the divergence is, extending by day. So we shall see how that plays out. So the last time we got something like this in April, in February last year, we got that sell, and that gave us the sell that went into April lows. So we shall see if we get the same thing this time around, right? But from a technical standpoint as well, if you look at the SPY over here on the weekly time frame, you could see that we have this parallel channel. So if you look at this, you can see that price is currently at the top of this parallel channel, and every single time price has come here in this zone, we have always gotten some kind of a sell-off in the market, right? So is history going to repeat itself? We shall see if we get the same thing. But so based on this chart, it tells us that the path to least resistance is to the downside and not the upside, because the upside is limited, right? Maybe we have 10% up to the upside if you get a blow off top. But apart from that, the path to least resistance is to the downside. So this is not a time to go crazy on longs, right? Like go oversize and go over leverage on longs, because you can find yourself in big trouble. Okay. All right. So let's check out the QQQ, right? Let's check out the QQQ here to see what's going on with the QQQ. And then we are going to look at, let's check out the QQQ. So this is the QQQ here. So with the QQQ, what I'm seeing here is what I'm seeing here is an example of what is called the Wyckoff cycle. Okay. If you look at the QQQ chart or the NASDAQ chart, it looks like the Wyckoff cycle. Okay. So you have accumulation, you have like greed, like this is public participation, and then you have here distribution, right? So it looks like, if you look at, so study this area closely, you are going to see that we have something looking like a distribution phase, whereby price can continue going down and then we can get a meltdown, right? So this is called the Wyckoff cycle or Wyckoff distribution. Okay, so let's go to the chart here and compare it. So you can see the top, and you can see that move like that, and then we have this down here. If you compare it to this is a classic example of the Wyckoff cycle, right? So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but based on what this is looking like, it's looking like we are at the end of the road, and the NASDAQ has been weak, right? The AI stocks have failed to fire. right? They are not firing on all cylinders. Yesterday we saw Nvidia rally, but it could not do much, right? And it sold off again today. So this is a classic example of the Wyckoff cycle. So take a picture of this, study it, and check out the NASDAQ and check out the QQQ. You are going to see that this is an exact replica of the Wyckoff cycle. So if you put in there, so this is the double top here, we have this here. And we can clearly see that this is the April trend line. This was support, 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 support. And now we broke down into resistance, right? If we take off the lines, you are going to see that price is struggling to hold this 100 SMA, which used to be a strong support the last time we bounced here, but it's struggling to hold it. So if the QQQ is unable to remount this 100 SMA, then it will head down to the downside, right? And if you go to the weekly, the QQQ has already broken below what the 20 SMA on the weekly, which is the purple line here. And if this continues, like if this does not remount it and breaks down, we are going to head down to this area, right? If you go to the SPY, if you check out the SPY, you are going to see that the SPY here. So for the SPY, I'm bullish until such a time that we break below the 20 SMA on the weekly, right? If we break below the 20 SMA, that means that the market is in trouble and we are going to head down to the downside to the nearest target, which is going to be here. And then here is where I believe that we are going to come to, and then we are going to get that 10% correction or more, okay, or something worse than that, okay? So next thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the DIA. So the DIA is a very interesting one because with the DIA, if you look at the DIA closely, you are going to see that if you look at this here, this pivot low here in 2023, if you extend the trend line, you are going to see that there's a pivot low in 2023. If you extend the trend line, you're going to see that this trend line has been a very strong resistance, right? So here it was support, and then it broke, right? And now it's acting as what? Resistance, 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 and another resistance, right? So here, if you go to the daily, you can see that the DIA put in what looks like a topping tail candle, not quite a topping tail candle, but it's getting there. And it is trading what? It's trading here on this trend line, right? It's come inside it. So what we need to do tomorrow is that I'm going to be looking to short the DIA if the market is weak tomorrow. And I'm going to look to, if we can get a break below 500, I'm going to look to go short. I'm going to buy put options and then we'll ride it to the downside, right? So that's the trade I'm looking for. However, if we hold this 2023 trend line and we negate this topping tailish candle, then we are going to squeeze to the upside, right? So that's DIA, okay? Next is I'm going to look at a few stocks that I'm looking at for tomorrow. Let's say the market is weak and market sells off due to the economic data or something like that. I'm going to be looking at, typically Chinese stocks serve as a hedge on the market. And I'm going to look at BABA, right? So with BABA, this is what I'm looking for, right? So I'm looking for a break of this downsloping trend line. So this looks like a cup and handle. So it's your cup here. And this like looking like a handle forming. But most importantly, I'm looking for a break. So a break above 169, let's approximately 169. A break above 169 will get this to rally. And this could go as high as, it could go to 176 and then 181, right? So I like this play tomorrow. On BABA, I'm looking for the long. However, if the long fails and this fails to break out of here, we are going to look to short this to the downside to come and retest this 164 and possibly come down here to the 50 SMA. Okay. Next thing I'm watching is Tesla. Tesla was showing relative strength today. So another stock I'm watching tomorrow is Tesla. So here we have this upsloping trend line from April lows. And we are coming into this area. So two things that can happen, right? Price can come here because this moving averages congestion, and then this trend line. This could serve as a shorting opportunity whereby price comes there and bumps its head into this, putting in a red candle, or we could get a breakout to the upside where if we can remount this April trend line, we can get a very nice green candle tomorrow. So either way, we are going to look to trade it either to the upside or to the downside, right? So that's why I'm looking here for Tesla, right? And last but not the least, Palantir. So Palantir has been showing weakness here, and if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see that Palantir has been, like, if you go to the weekly time frame, you can see that Palantir here is struggling to remount this January 2021 mother of all trend lines, right? See, these are 2021 highs. This is February 2025 highs. And then here's where we are at now, February 2026. And this is the weekly time frame. Price bumped into this and it couldn't break, right? So if this is unable to break and remount this 148 level, then Palantir could go down to the downside. And if Palantir is able to break below 126.12, then you are going to get a move to the downside. So with Palantir, if you look at it, you can see that this has formed a head and shoulders pattern. And with head and shoulders pattern, you can get the measured move, okay? So the measured move here is that you're going to take the top of the head to the neckline, right? You get the measured move from here to here, and you put it in the neckline break, right? So the neckline has already started breaking. So this can go as low as 89 or below 89 if this sell-off continues, okay? And then if you look at the daily chart, you are going to see that Palantir has been putting in what I call a buffet of bear flags, right? This bear flag number 1, bear flag number 2, 3, 4. Is this going to be the fourth one? Is this bear flag going to be the fourth one? We shall see how this reacts, right? So if tomorrow we break below this bear flag, then I'm going to look to short Palantir to the downside, right? And then I'm going to be targeting this area, this low here, this 129. And then if we go below 129, this can come to this next level of 190. So those are the tickets that I'm watching for tomorrow. And that's what I see here in terms of the general market, where price is going and all that stuff. So I hope this was insightful. Please hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and also subscribe to the channel, and share this link with your friends and family and those that in your network that are interested in learning about investing and trading in the market. Have a good night. See you in the next video. Bye for now.